You want to sit in a comfy chair or you want to sit behind your
Listen,
desk?
I'm not sitting in that recliner.
Okay.
You're already making me like the star of it.
Well, you are the star. What are you talking
I
about?
just want to sit right in this chair. You guys sit in the recliner.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. You
All
sit
right,
in the recliner.
all right. I might
Call
not
it
get
that.
up, Coach.
That's okay. That's all right.
They get a little help. You gonna be all right.
Yeah.
You right.
Man, that's comfy.
There you go.
Man, these chairs are comfy.
All right. So whenever you guys want to start coaching again, let me know. I add you to the staff.
That don't sound bad. That don't sound bad.
No.
Are we rolling?
Yep.
Okay.
Ready whenever you are.
All right.
So, Coach, listen, I know you're super busy. I didn't know, but I heard that you were the girls' coach, the boys' coach, and the athletic director.
All at the same time.
Right. Now, I'm trying to figure out, like, right, yeah.
I'm struggling right now, and I'm not doing all three. So.
Okay, but you did it, though.
I did. So.
See, that says a lot about you.
Yeah.
You know, tell us about your history. Tell us how you got to the point to where, hey, this game of basketball, I love it. You look like you played. I don't know.
I did play.
Okay.
Yep, for sure. I played since I was 4, and didn't stop. Still haven't stopped. We're ready. You know what I mean? So, I played at Muncie Central. I bleed purple. Sorry.
That's all right.
I bleed purple. I always will. And then I went to Taylor and I played there too in college, and so got to bleed some more purple. And then I coached at Muncie Central under Lisa for a year. I coached at Anderson University for a year. Went to Dallas and coached there for a year. I had to get away for a little bit. My parents wanted me to get uncomfortable, so I did. Stretched me a lot, and then my sister had some nephews, and I was just like, I gotta come back. Sorry, so came back, and then that's when I started coaching at Anderson. And then I somehow got here right after I coached at Muncie Central. I took a little step, and Lisa was like, you need to go and try to be a head coach. You're ready. And I was just like, okay. And Delville took a little shot at it. So
if I'm not mistaken, Ashley, you were the girls' coach first.
I was.
And then you ended up leaving.
I did.
Yes, I remember that. And then actually came back as the AD and boys coach at the same time, or how'd that work out? What was that time
so it was 3 years girls coach, left, went to Whiteland. Yes. Came back 1 year boys coach. And then my AD that hired me as boys coach, he's actually a wrestling coach at Frostburg now. And so he was like, I'm leaving. And I was like, what in the world is happening? And then my principal, he was just like, have you ever thought about it? And I was like, honestly, no. I've never thought about being an AD. I'm very happy with what I'm doing here. I can focus on coaching a lot. And she was just like, I think you need to think about it. So I thought about it. Yeah. Ended up doing it. And so that's how it happened. Yeah. And then our girls basketball coach left right after that. And then he sat me down again and said, hey, and I sat him down too. I was like, look, let's just, I can't do this quick. It needs to happen like 2 weeks. Yeah. Like, there's no way that we're going to be able to do this. Like, especially somebody, I mean, we're Delville, it's 1A. It's hard to get coaches to come here to begin with. So I'm just like, I got it. Let's just go. And I had good assistance. Yeah.
So 2 quick questions. You talked about how your parents kind of encouraged you to go away for a little while to get out of your comfort zone. And obviously that has prepared you for what you came back to. I mean, it has. I mean, whether you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I forget the other question. So let's
that's fine. I'm okay with that. My parents, I mean, they've been my rock. Yeah. You know, so even last year when I was about to do 3, my mom was like, if there's ever a time to do it, it's right now. So you can try it and see how it goes. And she was like, look, I don't have kids. I have 2 dogs at home. My parents live 30 seconds away from my house. And they're like, we got the dogs. And I'm like, great. So they hated me for like 5 months.
But the dogs or the parents?
My dogs. My dogs, not my parents. Okay. But they're awesome. And they definitely encouraged me. Yeah. I wanted to get out too. Being at Taylor for 4 years too. I wasn't far. And it's good to stretch yourself every once in a while.
And then I remember that second question that came to me.
Okay, go ahead.
How big of a deal was it to have Coach Fouch come back to be able to fill that position.
For sure.
And kind of free you up a little bit. Not a lot because you're still wearing two hats.
No, 100%. And thank God, Delville, my superintendent was like, "You're picking one, and you're going. Like, you got to figure it out." He was just like, "I'm not going to wear you out. I want you to stay here for a while." So like, they were very understanding, and they pushed me towards that, which I needed them to do that, because I probably wouldn't have stopped just because I care so much.
Absolutely.
So, but Fouch's been awesome. I think the biggest thing about Fouch that I loved is that he, in his interview, was like, "I want to be at Delville," and I'm like,
"Yeah, that's awesome.
Me too."
That's a big deal, yeah.
And it's huge. And he was just like, "I'm going to invest. I want to be here. This is where I want to make my home." And I was just like, that's hard to find. And it was the same way with my volleyball coach. We hired her in the summer too, and she'd been the junior high coach for a long time. And she's like, "I'm not going anywhere." And like, just having consistency is huge. You know what I mean? So if I don't have any turnover, I'm cooking.
Yeah, I like that.
That's good. That's good. So, Coach, tell me, what's the difference? You've coached girls, now you're coaching boys. Is there a difference? What has been challenging for you to make the transition to deal with both groups? Has it been, which one was easier to buy into your system, what you wanted to do, how you wanted to run the program?
Yeah, that's a good question. Been asked it before. Especially what's the difference? Who do you want to actually coach? Like, I have told myself 100 times that I will do my best never to coach girls again. But I did it, right? So I went back. And I take that, and sometimes I regret saying it just because I enjoy the girls that I coached last year, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. Boys, they're just, you don't have to pull them to play anymore. Like, girls, it's starting to kind of dwindle down a little bit, where it's hard to find athletes that are very committed to girls basketball at this point. And with boys, it's not there yet. And so for them to buy into my system and what I really want to grow here, it's easier on that per se. But like, people always say, "What's the biggest difference?" I'll tell you the biggest difference. Girls are, it's actually very like, I deal with anger with boys and I deal with cattiness with girls, and it's all emotions, right? And I have figured out how to deal with each. And with boys, I am almost like a mother figure. And so it is different in that way, because they are like protecting me pretty much, which is huge. Like, and it actually kind of goes to my benefit sometimes. But almost doesn't go to my benefit sometimes, because I'm like, you don't have to, like, I got myself, you know what I mean? Especially during games. Like, there's been some games where officials are pulling at me, and I'm like, are you serious right now? But my boys are like, "We got you, don't worry." And they're like, "Bump out," and I'm like, don't, you know what I mean? But they have really bought into the protection side of it. And so girls, not so much. Like, that's not the role I have to be for them, but it is with the boys. So it's just different. And I've learned the last 2 years how different it is, but also having a coaching staff that is very, I got a dad, I got a college student coming right out. I do have a college student now, and there's just different types of levels where, okay, I can relate to that. Or they're telling me something, I'm like, go talk to that one, or go talk to him, or I have you, I can do this one. But it's just nice to have the 5 people behind you that are different in each way. So.
And I have to ask you about the student coach that you're talking about. Mr. Camden Leisure was a ZBA boy for me back in the day. And how nice is that, Ashley, to have a player that you actually coached come back and want, obviously it says great things about you, to have him want to come back and contribute, be a part of your staff.
100%.
Yeah.
Cam is, he's a good kid. Man, so the great thing about the Leisures is that they came my first year here because I coached Lexi, and she was a senior the very first year that I was here. And so I got to hold that Leisure family in my life the past 7 years. And so when I got to coach Cam his senior year, it's a pretty awesome scenario that happened right there. And then to get a text from him and say, "Hey, can I be a part of this?" I'm like, man, I already have 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, really, and then I was like, okay, but it's Cam. So, and Cam is great. We had a really good bond coming into it. He was the first one that bought in, and if I didn't have him buy into what I was trying to do, it wouldn't have happened. Like, I wouldn't have had my smoothest first year. Like,
and to have a senior starting guard buy into what you're doing right off the bat, that's big time.
And he just had my back from the back. Like, it was crazy. So he like led that. He kind of built that foundation for me, and so for him to want to come back. And now he's just learning things on how to do it. I mean, most of the time, honestly, he's practicing because he's like, I'm doing it.
Makes him better, you
so
know, going against older.
Go ahead, go practice. So makes me not have to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then real quick, I got to mention Shane. Does he help with the weight program around here sometimes?
He does.
So I mean, you know, you talk about people that want to be be a part of the Delville family. I mean, you've got it right there in the Leisures.
Yep.
And your coaching staff as well.
100%. And Shane keeps my stats for me every single game. I'm like, I don't even have to do a thing. He just entered him into Max Preps today. He's like, I got your stats. I'm like, yes.
That's awesome. Because even when you go to, when you have kids and you go to traveling ball, they're always looking for a parent to come and do the stats. And most parents be looking away like, you know, like, yeah, don't call my name. I don't want to do it. So for you to have all of those pieces in place, it just opens the door for you to go ahead and do what you need to do. And that's the coach. Let me go ahead and build this program or whatnot. Listen, Coach, I'm so inspired right now. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm super inspired for the simple fact that I know you've dealt with opposition. You know, being a lady and coaching the boys team, you know, I know you dealt with opposition, but I'm loving the fact that, you know, you've overcome the opposition. What are some of the things that helped you, you know, that helped you build the fortitude that you need in order for you to go beyond the naysayers, the, you know, the chatter and say, I'm invested regardless of what's being said.
And to add to that, does that drive you? Like, does some, you know, some of that negativity or questioning, does that drive you into the right direction as well?
100%. So, like, I think my first year is probably the hardest for me just because I didn't necessarily know all of the stuff that you were walking into or how big it was, you know what I mean? But also not making it that big in your head, because if you do, then that's just like, it's gonna weigh on me, and that's not why I'm here. I just like, I can't say it enough of how much like the community is just behind me. And so like for me, the naysayers, they're not here. Like, I might get one or two, but they're not in the Delville community. Like, they back me so hard, and that's all that matters to me. Like, I'm not building programs in Anderson or Muncie. I'm building one in Delville. And so I don't really care what anybody else says about what I am, right? Because it is what it is. And if Delville has my back and my administration has my back, and quite honestly, if my team has my back, I really don't care. You know what I mean? And that's where it all started. And that's why Cam was a huge part of that. Like, that was the scary part, was, okay, you have a big role. How are you going to get because I had 5 seniors that year. How are you going to get 5 seniors to make sure that they have your back? And that was the scary part. It wasn't anybody else talking about it. People were talking left and right. The comments were hilarious. But my boys, I mean, they're the ones, they didn't care. Like, they're just like, she knows basketball, she knows what we're doing, we're about to win, and we had the most winning season that they've had in a long time, and we rocked it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't care. They didn't care. But
coming off that season, though, Coach, you lose 5 seniors.
100%.
You know, how hard is that to rebuild your second year? I mean,
it was tough.
Yeah.
Last year's, it was a way bigger challenge than my first year. Just because my first year I had Camden, I had Trey.
Yep.
Who was
excellent player.
Huge. And he carried us a lot. Last year we didn't quite have the like dominant force as Cam and Trey were. But at the same time, we wasn't bad. It challenged us a little bit more. I expect the same thing from this year. I lost a humongous leader in Dylan Scott.
Yes, you did. I was going to mention his name. But.
He is. I'm missing him deeply. You know what I mean? But like at the same time, Merrick's here, so as soon as he gets back, we're rolling. There's always something in the works coming up, and I still have Noah Colvin. He's cooking. So there's different parts to it. I just lost 5 that year, so that was a little bit hard to bite. But I mean, it's always a rebuilding year. It doesn't matter where you're at.
That's
you know
right.
I mean?
Yeah, and we talk about that all the time, don't we, Coach?
Yeah. But it does get easier at the same time. The first year is harder. You're trying to build something.
Yeah.
You're putting in your system. You're wanting to make them believe that they can actually do this thing. You're letting them loose because they might have had more structure, whatever it might have been. But now this 3rd year, I have smart kids on my team this year. Like the IQ is a lot higher than it was the last 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah,
it makes it easy. There you go.
Because I'm just like, oh, here's the scouting report, and I'm in like Shenandoah mode, right? Because we just lost by 2.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I am sitting in this timeout, and I'm like, what are we doing? And they're like, we're doing this, 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 and this. And
they already
I'm like,
knew.
what's number 3? Do this, this, and this, and it's just like it's there already, and that's so nice to have.
And that comes with preparation, and obviously you guys prepare the right way.
So. So it's nice. It gets easier. Like it might be rebuilding, but it gets easier.
Yeah. But you say rebuilding, but those guys that they're coming up under your system now. They're not new to your system, so they know what to expect out of you now.
Yeah.
So
and it also helps. It's almost like it trickles down to the feeder system. Yep. You know, I know the girls, Hanshu, we talked to him, and we don't have a lot of girls coming out.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a nice feeder system, especially for the boys? Mm-hmm. You have that, and younger kids that saying, man, I want to be a part of the Bronco family, you know, when I come up. I mean, because that's huge. Right. And for the success of your team now, all that does is just cause the younger individuals to say, man, I want to be a part of that tradition so I can carry that on. Have you been having some success in the feeder program?
I'll give you a success story. We just did Bronco Madness, our little community event, probably 2 weeks ago, right? You know what I mean?
And I saw that on social media.
Yeah. So it was really fun. It was cool. Jeremy Adams, actually, he planned that whole thing. Bless his soul. Right before he was just like, listen, let's just do camp in the morning. I'm like, Jeremy, like I do one every summer. And summer camps are tough and they're wearing on you, but okay. And he was just like, just do it in the morning. We got it taken care of. I'm like, okay. So I pushed it out the Monday before that Saturday. Okay, so that's 4 days.
Yeah.
About. We had 56 kids sign up.
Great response.
I'm like, come on. I was like, in a week?
Yeah.
We're cooking. Like, we're doing it. You know what I mean? So, like, that, which I was like, oh, we might get like 30 kids, like the regulars that I know that are down there. It just, it was those 2nd, 3rd, 4th graders. They just came out here, and it was great. I was like, Jeremy was like, why do we not do that more often? I was like,
well, you learn, you know.
We can.
Wow.
But how important is that to get your younger kids in the community wanting to grow up and be those guys and girls at on the court? When we were growing up, we could not wait to get out there and play varsity basketball for our school. Right. And for those younger kids to want to grow up and be a varsity Bronco player, that's what it's all about, Coach.
Right. Yeah, and there was never a time I didn't want to just go play basketball with Jordan Armstrong, and Ben Botts, and everybody else. I'm like, can I play with them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I play with them?
See, that's what I'm talking about, Coach. And you sound like a hooper. You know, I'm serious. You sound like a hooper. Like, man, listen, I'm going over here where they gonna challenge me. Yeah. They gonna make me get in my bag. I'm gonna have to come up with something. And man, I love it. I love it, Coach. So let me ask you a question, Coach. What is your underclassmen like? Because me and Zach talk about this a lot. You lost 5 seniors the year before, and then how many did you lose this year? Or
5.
Yeah, oh, 5.
6, actually.
And so we talk about a lot of times. We talk about those underclassmen. You know, putting them in the fire. You know, getting them prepared because it works in your benefit in the later years, junior, senior year, to where if they have the experience freshman and sophomore year, then it's like, okay, they're ready, they're experienced, they know what to expect. How's your underclassmen?
I think summer is huge for that. We took them to a lot of places this year, and So one of my assistant coaches, his name's Brady. He was on the Lapel State Championship team. I'll throw that one out there because he'll be happy about it. But he's like my right-hand man right now when it comes down to preparing and getting kids ready. And he, in the summertime, was just huge about that because we knew we lost 6. Like that's tough. But taking them to Ohio State, getting them out of their comfort zone. You know what I mean? Just like we don't need to play Indiana teams. I like taking them out one time and just getting our butts whipped by an Ohio team that you guys think that you're probably going to win or not. So it's just like, and we lost big time in Ohio. It was huge. But it's okay. Like that's what I wanted, and I wanted them to experience that.
Right.
But underclassmen, yeah, I mean, there's a couple of them, and one of them got handed to the Wolves last game, and I was just like, listen, I wouldn't hand you to the Wolves if I didn't think you were ready. You know what I mean? Like, and I said that in my halftime because he was super down, and he was just like, wasn't playing like he would if it was in a practice, and I was just like, I'm not setting you up to fail. Like, I would never do that to you. So I need you to play as if you are at practice because that is who I need you to be. This confident, cocky, I'm going to play defense and you're going to hate my guts at the end of the game type kid. Like, that's who he is. And I'm just like, I haven't seen it at all. What's going on in the second half? He turned that thing around. And I'm just like, see, we just need to go. Like, they just need to be called out a couple of times. And that's with your underclassmen. That's what you have to do. You give them a chance. You don't do it. Then you just have to look at them and be like, but you did this, 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 and this for me to put you here. So why are you not doing it? Absolutely. You know? So I don't know. Like, you proved yourself to me. So, I mean.
Another quick question, Coach. How important, like when we played, we could not play together in the summertime if you were on the same high school team. And definitely you couldn't practice in the summertime. You had open gym, but how different is that now, being able to like take your team and actually do stuff in the summertime that you weren't nobody was able to do before. But like you said, traveling to other states and actually getting some experience that we never would have gotten back in the day.
It's huge. And I think it's important. I try to squeeze in as they give you a limit, but I try to do as many as I can, especially game wise, just because I try to squeeze in as much as I can in June. I do let them get kids in July, and I give myself a break. But
much needed break.
But it is. I mean, June ball it's good for them. It's good for me to see what we're going to be working with and start preparing for. It gave us a great idea of what we were going to have this year and start to build off of it and try to reform our offense the way that we want to, and defensively, who's going to get it done for us and the things that we're asking them to do. But I mean, revamped our entire offense this year just because we know that people are going to hone in on Merrick. So we set everything up to make sure that he is getting the shots that he needs to have for us to win, because if we wouldn't have revamped it, he would have just been sitting there. So, but it's good.
See, that's important. That's important to me, Coach, is to stay relevant. Hey, I can adapt. We can change because it's obvious, players are not how they used to be, and so I think an effective coach has to be able to let me adjust, see what I got, and I can adjust and build the program. Right.
You have to. You can't do the same thing all the time. I know some coaches that do the same thing all the time, and it might work for them, but I'm like, I don't feel like I'm setting them up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why am I not giving them a chance to actually win every single game that I put on my schedule if I don't? I wouldn't be able to do what I did my first year when I had Cam and Trey with the group that I have right now. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Correct. And that better prepares them for life, just the different, because in life you got to adjust. Life throw you curveballs. It's not on our schedule. Some things that we don't plan for. But I think even using basketball and being able to adapt and getting them into that mindset of saying, okay, we switching it up. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like you did with the underclassmen, you threw him to the wolves. He don't see it now. And he was like, man, Coach, like you set me up, But then I know he was able to sit back and be like, wow, I didn't even know that was in me, that I can perform on that level you know, in the midst of this type of talent or whatnot, and he did it.
And he didn't. And today is the first one in the gym. So let's go.
You gotta love players like that, Coach.
I'm just looking at it because it's life. Yeah. You know, how can you prepare somebody to where it's like, man, you never know what you can stand until you done stood it. That's right. You know, and I just love what you're doing, Coach. I love how you preparing these young men and I mean just to go out and face challenge head on. Yeah, I love it, Coach. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for meeting with us. We appreciate it. Yep. You know, what we want to do is we want the community to know the coaches. You know, not just the players. We also want them to know the players. And we tell coaches this all the time, but we were very lucky to be covered the way we were covered back when we played. Yeah. I mean, you know, they had our games on television. Yeah. There was 140 games on the radio every year. Yeah. And we talk about how the Anderson paper and some of these papers around here do a good job, but they can't be at every game every night. And we just want to contribute to that. You know, we want to get out and just we want to expose you guys a little bit. You know?
I appreciate it. I think it's going to blow up. So what you guys are doing is good. Like, I'm being so serious. I really do think it will. Like, I think this is good. So. Well,
thank you. We sure appreciate it. And we love being back in the gym again, even though we were talking about it last night. We were covering a game. And, you know, if you can't be out there playing or coaching, you know, this is probably the next best thing.
That's right.
So.
Absolutely. And there's just many different aspects to the game of basketball. A lot of kids, man, I want to make it to the NBA. Well, everybody's not going to listen. Small percentage. You got thousands and thousands of people trying to apply for a couple jobs.
Yeah. Even in college, even to go to the next level, it's a very small percentage. So.
But there's many different aspects to the game. This is one of them. Sports management or whatever, you know. And so just to be a part of the game and say, man, what can we do? We was blessed to experience the game of basketball. What can we do to give back, you know, to kind of motivate kids to say, hey, man, you know what, man, let me work on my game. Yeah. I'm not going to this party. I'm not hanging out. I'm about to get in the gym or I'm going to step it up on my studies, you know, just to know that they're covered and people in the community, not just Daleville community, but people outside of Daleville start to recognize, hey, man, you're a Bronco. You know, and what that would do to them, you know, their motivation, man, just to go to the next level. So that's what we want to do.
And getting a little exposure to you and some of these kids out there. We want the crowd to say, hey, I need to get to a game and watch these kids because they're exciting. Yeah. You know, they are exciting. We've realized that, haven't we, being back in the gym?
Listen, we have not been disappointed thus far. You know,
my face hurts from smiling.
Mine too. Yeah. And expose the community to history. You made history, Coach.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
you did. I mean, it is what it is.
I love that piece. You know, making history. You're right. Yeah. I'm changing the course of how it normally goes. I'm changing it.
Yeah.
And I love it too. So we're excited to get in here. You know, we know your time is limited.
Yeah.
So we appreciate the time that you've given us on today.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then good luck this season.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll be back in here to talk to you again.
Okay.
So
I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right.
But it'll be at a game though.
All right. That's fine.
It'll be at a game.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Don't worry. We're going to be fast, quick, in a hurry. Let y'all get to work.
For those of you that don't know, I'm Randy Zachary.
Kojak Fuller.
We used to play against each other back in the day, long time ago, a little bit before your time.
Hated seeing this dude. For real.
Just want to talk about quickly, I know we're not going to talk long up here, but number one, it's awesome to be back in the gym again, especially with Kojak. What a great opportunity for us to come back and talk to young kids like yourselves. We can't play anymore, but this is the next best thing. Get out here and be part of the community. You know, we feel very blessed to be covering you guys like we are this year and hopefully in the future. But one thing I want to say is listen to your coaches because they've been there before. You guys have a great coaching staff here, a lot of ex-basketball players. They've been through it before. They're experienced. They know what they're talking about. I remember sitting right where you're sitting, and sometimes it's hard to listen to your coach. Sometimes you're like, man, I think I know what to do more than the coach does. In certain situations, you know, maybe that's the case, but overall, you have to listen to your coaching staff because, like I said, they've been through it, guys. It's important. And it seems like you guys are doing a good job of that. So I think that's great. Keep doing what you're doing. Good things are going to happen.
Yeah. And what I'll add to that is when he's saying listen to your coach is going there can't tell been there how to get there.
That's true.
Did y'all understand what I just said? If you're going somewhere but somebody already been there, you can't tell them how to get to where they've already been. They can help you get there, but you can't help them because they already been there, man. So that's very important to make sure you listen to your coaches, man. Mm-hmm. What I would say is also is, man, you can be like one decision away, man, one bad decision away from just turning your life upside down, straight up. And I know when it comes to athletes, man, it's a lot of pressure because you got a lot of people looking at you. So it's almost like you don't have no room for mess ups, right? But, man, we know you're going to make mistakes, man. But you need to make sure, man, that you understand what you're doing. Think before you do things, man. I'm telling you. And I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know because here it is. I'm Mr. Basketball 1993. But then just a couple years after that, I was 970942. That was my prison number. So how do you go from Mr. Basketball being able to go to any school in the country except for two? That was Duke in North Carolina. They just didn't want you, boy, you know. But how do you go from that to, because, see, we understand the different pressures, man, that you go through being an athlete, man. So I say this, man, talent without wisdom becomes destructive. Learn how to use this game of basketball to get you where you're trying to get to, because if you don't learn how to use it, it'll use you. In other words, you'll be playing for everybody else and you'll find yourself doing some things and in some places that you really shouldn't be in. And next thing you know, it's a oops. But those oops count, you know. So, man, listen, man, really focus on, man, use this game, man. Allow it to take you, man, as far as it can take you, man. Seriously. Because you never know where it may land you, man. Seriously. So, man, be about your grind, sacrifice, and it's okay when you in practice, man. This is where our practice. One thing about this dude right here, man, I said I hate seeing him because this dude was ultimate competitor, man. He step on the court. He don't care who you is, what that jersey say on what that name say on the front of your jersey. And I was the same way. It don't make no difference. When we step on here, you can be my grandma. If you step on this hardwood, you the enemy. You ain't Grams no more. When we done, now you grandma. Absolutely.
Grandma's in trouble.
Absolutely. And that's how y'all got to be with each other, because if y'all like that with each other, when it's time to get in the fire, guess what? You ain't got to look and be like, man, is he ready? I know he ready. You know why? Because I helped build it. Because when we was in here in practice, we was grinding, man. So I'm telling you, man, go all out, man. Give it your all, man. The reserve tank, throw that away. Leave it all out here.